boys laughing, cracking jokes, bouncing like a ball. Two wild dudes all around, rocket fuel sports blitz. Turn up the dial, you hear those epic podcast hits. Sam lays down the stats like a numbers rainstorm. Leroy brings heat with opinions far from norm. Microphones play, sound waves whipping through. Every game, every play from an angle new. Welcome folks to Sam and Leroy's chaotic show. Sporting highlights, talking fast-paced, never slow. Tune your ears to the crazy ride. They provide laughs and insights with this dynamic duo. Wide.
Welcome to From the Pressbox here for today. Leroy, I love it, don't you? Welcome to the show.
It makes it feel more official. I like it. It makes it feel more official.
It does. Shout out to John for putting that together for us. It was John, right?
Yeah, John Rich today, yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job there putting together our new theme song for From the Pressbox. I don't know. And we might need to play it to close the show as well, just because it is fantastic. So
yes.
Thank you to John for putting that together for us. How's it going? I know it's a week here.
It's been a week. Whatever can break has broken. Whatever, we went to our purple gold game on Friday, and we have a testing session that we do. Randy orders pizza and thinks it's all like this great, like, oh, we all get to sit and talk about our seasons. And we test equipment and everything worked fine. Well, we went out to the purple and gold game, called the purple and gold game, and we set up the recorder. We hit the button and nothing happens. So I get a phone call from my boss who says, hey, did you know you're dead? Which I don't know what's worse. The fact that I'm dead and know that I'm dead, know that I can't get a signal. Or my boss calling me and saying, are you tracking what's going on?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And while I'm trying to fix it, the last thing I want to do is talk to you.
Oh, it's like when we're at a game and they're like, do you know your cameras are lagging? It's like, have you not seen us running around like chicken with our heads cut off for the last hour? Yes, we're aware. And I understand most of those people, and I mean, your boss might be a little bit different because he's in the industry. They think they're trying to help.
Yes, always think they're. And he thinks he's helping too. But this is the man who, when he said, "Listen, I'm going to get you guys on the air. I'm going to talk and get you guys on the air." Oh, I can't find a mic. Let me find a mic. Like, bro, nobody cares. Just give the intro so we can get on. We're already missing a good. It's been that kind of a week.
Did purple or gold win?
Purple won.
Purple won. Okay. I don't know if that's the team I would have picked if we would have done that. So let's just go ahead and recap our pick contest from last week. Remember, we opened it up where you all, Leroy and America, got to pick Grayson County versus Edmonson County in the Tobacco Bowl, the big rivalry game. And Leroy, the Cougs kicked some rear end.
Wasn't this a game you were worried about?
I didn't know what to expect, but the Cougs, they must have been listening. And they said, hey, Mr. Broadcaster, shut the heck up. 35-0. Cougs dominated Edmonson County in the Big Tobacco Bowl. So Leroy and America both get 1 point to open it up.
Hey,
and
America?
Yeah, good job there. I will say, too, we were dealing with some in Jungle Juice that we just recorded. Our comment machine was broken through it to the point where we had a bunch of comments that weren't coming up. So if it is, America, a.k.a. Paul, yeah. But, hey, you might have some people in there, so the comments are working right now. But if all of a sudden we start ignoring your comments, just let us know that we're not ignoring your comments, because I think our system, was having some issues earlier. Hopefully it's been fixed. I also got a point, though, and it was hairy for a while. SMU came back to beat Nevada. So we both have 1 point in week number 1 of the From the Pressbox pick contest. At the end of the show today, we'll do it again. Remember that Leroy will pick the Grayson County game, and myself and America will pick the Taylorville game this week, and America will just flip-flop on the games of the week. So I'm excited to dive into Taylorville this week. But yeah, Grayson County won 35-0, Leroy. They got to keep the tobacco stick, which is always a really good thing. And it's always for the first game. It's weird because I don't know. It's like riding a bike. But for me, riding the bike, because I can practice all I want, but it's still not the same thing as actually getting out there and doing it. And it usually takes until about the fourth quarter when I feel bad. I feel like I'm back into it. And then the issue is now we have a week off until our next game.
Correct.
So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I know we did volleyball on Monday, which was
What's the
nice.
biggest part as a broadcaster? What is the hairiest part for you as far as getting back into the groove again?
Starting. It just needs to go. And for us, I always love it where, and again, all the inside baseball stuff is, for one, I love our football coach. And I have to have this conversation with him. He's a great person. And I know his wife and I are friends on Facebook. And Elena, if you're watching this is not a shot at Brian by any stretch. But he loves starting the game early at home. Loves it. Loves starting the game early. So I have, because, inside baseball here for radio and so on is that we plan our show, and I'm sure you're the same way, is that you plan, we have X amount of commercials that we have to get in during our pregame show. And my goal is that by the time that last commercial plays, it's about 30 seconds to kick off.
Yep.
So I know that he likes to start early. Minute and a half left on the game clock. He has him wipe off the clock so we can go ahead and start. And I'm yelling at the clock operator, don't do it. I said, I am waiting. I have a minute and a half until I'm back on air. And they start early. And I'm like, it just drives me crazy. Because I was probably due back in 30 seconds. So I'd already come back a minute earlier than I was technically supposed to. And I had to do 90 seconds to 2 minutes. I'm not sure if you ever have that issue, but it just drives me crazy. So I was heated to start the broadcast because I was more just annoyed that it got to that point already.
Well, and the issue that I always run into is when I have technical issues to start a game, it throws me off for the rest of the game. You can't get into a rhythm of broadcasting when the first 3 minutes of the game you're like, okay, am I up here? Am
I on air?
What is that flashing? I've never seen that before. What is that? Mm-hmm. So by the time you get into it, you're like, all right, well, wait, it's second and how is it second and all right, second and 10 here from the 34-yard line, and
Grayson County scored a touchdown, their first touchdown of the season. And they go out there, they kick the extra point, or no, they went for two, and they got it. Grayson County 8, Edmondson County 0. We'll be back after this. Blah 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 blah. We go to commercial, and it's a minute-long commercial, and I'm setting up to tweet out the score. It's going. We look up, and after about 45 seconds, our kicker was back on the field to attempt a PAT. There was a penalty at some point during this. I still don't know what the penalty was.
I hate that.
But all of a sudden, I look up, and the ball's in the air, and I'm like, wait, what? And we come back, and I'm like, well, apparently there was a penalty. There's no 2-point conversion, and it's now a PAT, and Grayson County leads instead of 8-0, 7-0.
And I promise I'm not stupid. I didn't see it. This doesn't happen all the time.
Yes. I was like, I legitimately. So I'm really genuinely curious as to what the penalty was. And that was another thing that I meant to ask our football coach after the game, because it's not like I can go back into our broadcast and rewatch it because we were at commercial. So so that was always how you started it off. And it was like, oh, great way. Good job, Sam. Good job. But what was really cool, the coolest moment from the game is that last year, and I think I talked about it on this show, is that we had a kid break his leg. Compound fracture in his lower leg, first play of the game of district play about halfway through last season. First game back on Friday, he scores a touchdown. First catch. I was like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. He comes back, he fights through rehab and so on. So it was pretty cool. But Grayson County 1-0, 35-0 win against Edmondson.
We had a kid with disabilities who scored a touchdown during our Purple Gold game. He's very, very supportive of all the teams. He's the ball boy for the football team. I mean, he does a lot of stuff with it. But he can be very critical of me sometimes as far as why I'm there. I think he thinks I'm coming for. He does the volleyball broadcast. I think he thinks like I'm coming for his job, which is like farthest from the truth. I promise you, I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to take a volleyball job from a senior in high school. So, but I thought it was pretty cool for him to score.
Are his criticisms legitimate?
No.
Okay.
No.
I always love them.
After we get off the air, I'll share some of the criticism with you, but they're not for over the air.
It's just me, you, Paul, Caleb, and a third person too. I mean,
and who knows who that third person is?
His mom. As we get started here today. But today our show really is college football starts this weekend.
Absolutely.
Oh, how about this? Paul says it is legit, or Leroy wouldn't be mad. And John finally is back too as well. He says it me. And Justin says I'll just keep my mouth shut. Sam's old rival beat Covcath for the first time in almost 10 years by 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I'm not a fan of old Ryle, but I don't like Covcath even more. So I cheer for Ryle. That's like Steelers Ravens.
Yes. My enemy is my friend.
It's like when the Steelers and the Ravens play, Leader. It's like kissing your sister, even though I don't have a sister. College football, though, starts this weekend. Leroy and I are going to drop into our predictions now for that because everyone wants to hear who we think is going to win.
We want to hear what you guys have to say too, America. We want to hear what you guys have to say.
This isn't for the pick contest or anything, but this is just for fun.
Yeah.
When it comes to this, we'll start off here and just go in alphabetical order. Leroy, ACC happens off again. Remember, notable ACC legends of Stanford and SMU and Cal.
Right, because that's normal.
Because there's nothing that makes me think Atlantic than California. It's pretty much the exact thing that I think about. Who do you got in the ACC?
You know what? I think out of all of the conferences, I think the ACC is probably the one that is most difficult. There are a lot of different teams that if they won, it wouldn't be a big shocker if they won. But I got to go with what Caleb said. I think Clemson's going to take it this year.
The ACC is awful.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It's if you told me like, hey, Florida State's going to come back from that devastating loss and win the conference, I'd be like, okay.
See, I want to say Miami because they're back. They're the Nebraska of the ACC.
Oh, here we go.
They're back.
You start with the Nebraska stuff.
They're the Nebraska of the ACC, though, without question.
So the Cowboys. Your point?
They're back. And you know what, Leroy? They're back. They're back. Miami, they're back. Okay. They did lose a game despite where they just had to take a knee last year.
Yeah.
And they would have won, but you know what?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. All they had to do was take a knee.
They're back this year. The American Athletic Conference, which is pretty much the same from last year.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it not is just pretty much the same. It is the same. Caleb, I would not say Louisville. Why would I say Louisville? For one, it's just that division, that conference is awful. Who you got in the American, Leroy? Or I'll go first here. Now I'll take shout out the buttons. I'll take Memphis.
You take Memphis?
Yes. Shout out the buttons.
Who else is in that conference again? Is Boise State in there?
No. They're in the Mountain West. You've got Tulane. You've got UTSA. You've got South Florida. You've got Rice, East Carolina, North Texas, Army, Navy, FAU, Temple, Charlotte, Tulsa, and UAB. Don't you have to pick Army?
I do not have to pick anybody. Thank you very much. You know what? I don't know. Who did you pick?
Memphis. Is that who you're picking?
I'll shock the world and go with UTSA.
That's not a shocking pick by any stretch with that. UTSA is Leroy's pick. What's UTSA's nickname?
University of Texas, San Antonio, and they are the.
Mm-hmm.
This is a stupid game, and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Leroy's
they're the Miners, right?
Wrong Texas team. That's UTEP.
Oh, yeah.
Think of Wile E. Coyote and
Roadrunners.
The Roadrunners. Yeah, you're good there. It's the big, and I heard somebody saying and complaining about this. The big, what are we? The Big 18 now?
The Big 10.
Yeah. Why are we still calling these schools? It's the Big 10. It hasn't been 10 schools in what? 20 years?
90,
if not longer than that.
No, like 93.
Yeah.
Penn State joined in like 1993. And I remember when Penn State joined, my dad throwing a big giant hissy. Penn State's not a Big 10 team. We don't do that here.
I like here, I'm looking at betting odds. In last place in the Big 10, plus 50,000 to win the Big 10.
It better not be.
The Northwestern Wildcats.
Is it really?
Plus 50,000 odds.
They're not going to finish last though in that conference.
But this is not necessarily projecting them to finish last. This is just saying they have the worst chance of winning the conference.
Oh,
they're playing a tough schedule. I know they have Ohio State.
They do have a very tough schedule this year.
I'm gonna agree with Caleb though and say Oregon is winning this. I think Big Ten's gonna learn what real football is.
Because Oregon can play in the snow. Okay.
Notable Big Ten school, Oregon and USC and UCLA. Now, I'm not putting a few dollars on Northwestern to win the Big Ten. I'm not even sure Leroy will do that.
They're playing on a lakefront practice facility for a majority of their games. I promise you. I'm not putting any money on this team at all. I'm not allowed to. You're not in Illinois. You are not allowed to bet on your own colleges.
So the Gallup poll, I think it was Gallup. They in the mail sent me about a week ago $1, and I love to. This is
$1.
Yeah, just in the mail. There said if you fill out this survey, you get this $1, and I was
That's
like,
fantastic.
Well, I was like,
frame that.
I said, here's the thing: I said you sent me the $1 before I filled out the survey. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take. It is, Paul. It is maybe the crispiest $1 I have ever received.
It looks
So does this $1 go on to Northwestern to win the Big Ten?
No, you need to frame that crispy $1 bill.
It is very crispy. It is very crispy. So I don't know. Maybe I'll put it on Kentucky to win the SEC.
There you
I'm
go.
Not confident.
That's about as useless.
But who are you picking to win the Big Ten?
I'll go Homer and go Ohio State. Yeah, I know.
Justin says I should let it ride. Let it ride with I don't know, Northwestern, or I don't know. I'll figure out something to put $1 on. Maybe I'll do a Bengals Super Bowl bet for $1. Even though that's only going to win me like $14, so it's not like it's really worth that. The Big 12, of course, your favorite Big 12. Your favorite Big 12 teams, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State have joined the conference. So who do you got here in the Big 12?
Utah.
I agree. The Utes are probably going to be a playoff team as well. Can
we just say how odd that is too?
Utah in the playoff?
No, Utah in the Big 12.
Yeah. It's less odd though than Oregon in the Big 10.
UCLA being in the Big 10, yes, I agree.
And I'll never get over California being in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
That's a joke.
Atlantic Coast, because again, nothing Atlantic but that. The Conference USA.
Oh. Stand up and cheer.
You're saying, Caleb says Oklahoma State if they can drive drunk to and from all the games. Ayo. Conference USA, you're taking Western?
Yeah, darn right I'm taking. Darn toot, they're gonna beat Liberty this. No. We got Liberty this year.
I agree with Caleb. Liberty. Liberty, Bibberty.
Hey, that's copyright infringement. You can't be saying that.
Justin's going with the Tops, of course, a Hilltopper alum as well. I want to pick you know what? Screw it. Pick the Tops. Tops take it. They've convinced me. TJ Finley wins the Heisman. There we go. I'm going to take them. No FIU love?
No, ew, no.
No. I mean, that's only plus 12,000 to win. It's better odds.
Also,
Northwestern has.
I again want to lament that all of WKU's friends left the Conference USA and they got left behind in the conference.
Middle is still there.
Yeah, that's the only reason. That's the only reason WKU is still there.
You know what, Leroy? I'm interested. Can you name the schools of Conference USA right now?
No.
Can you name? Okay, I just gave you one, Middle and Western. Can you name any of the other ones that are currently in Conference USA? Because that's the funny thing. You're picking Western to win Conference USA, but now I'm wondering, can Leroy name any other Conference USA schools? Charlotte is incorrect. No, they're in the American. They're in the American.
Yeah, see, I'm already.
Okay.
What is it? Is Kennesaw State there yet?
There you go. Kennesaw State. They are in.
Yeah, team number 134 of 134. So good job on that.
They are in, but they can't win the conference championship because they're transitioning.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Let's see. Who else
we said Liberty, so we got to take them off.
Yeah. So that's 4 teams so far.
You've got 3 more schools that were in with Western when we were there.
Okay, so what? TEP?
Say that again.
University of Texas El Paso.
Yep, you're right. You broke up there. That's why I said just say it again.
Okay.
UTEP. Yep, you're right there.
All right. Let's see who else is in there. Florida Atlantic.
No, American.
See, I'm telling you, this is a stupid game.
Florida International is.
That's not a real place. That's not a real place.
FIU, Louisiana Tech. Remember them?
Yeah.
They're still in there.
Yep.
Would you have gotten Jacksonville State?
Nope.
Sam Houston State?
Nope.
New Mexico State?
Maybe.
It rounds out the Conference USA there. SEC. It just means more. Texas and Oklahoma join the conference. See, at least that makes sense. At least you can almost make an argument that Texas and Oklahoma are at least somewhat southeastern. Somewhat. Who wins the SEC, Leroy?
For the SEC, I got to go with
Vanderbilt.
Bulldogs, Georgia.
Not Vanderbilt? Come on, coward.
Northwestern's going to win more games than Vandy will. Come on, let's be real here for a second.
I'm going to agree. Georgia. I'm fascinated though by how the Alabama situation goes along.
You think they're going to be decent this year, or are they going to have a step back?
Yes, because Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach. I like Caleb. I like his pick here of Ole Miss being a wild card. I love Lane Kiffin.
And if we're going off surprises or teams that I'm keeping an eye on, I know we joke about it every year, but Iowa's a team in the Big Ten that I'm kind of keeping an eye on.
You do realize you have to play offense.
Do you?
Like, you have to have some semblance of offense. I do love to.
The Cubs haven't been playing offense for months, okay? Let's be real.
They did tonight, though, in the last 3 innings, or whatever it was. In Langdon writes in and says here, SEC is going to be Texas. That's not a bad pick. You've got Ewers as the quarterback. He's really good. Paul says nothing about Texas Eastern. It's not, but it's Texas is more Eastern than California is Atlantic. So at least that makes me feel good. Okay, the MAC, Leroy. I'm curious, can you even name a MAC school?
Yeah, Northern Illinois is in there.
Okay. Is that your pick?
No.
They have the 5th best odds.
Do they?
Yep. I'm going to go Toledo.
You know, I was leaning between Toledo and Buffalo.
Caleb is picking Western Michigan. Miami, Ohio is the odds-on favorite at plus 240 to win. But I don't know if you saw. Did you see the whole thing with Miami, Ohio's coach in Alabama?
No.
So I guess it was the Miami, Ohio radio guy was interviewing him, and was like, "Yep, you have to replace your kicker." And he goes, "Oh no!" He says, "We don't just have to replace it because Alabama stole him. They illegally recruited him, and they stole our kicker." And he says, "Illegally recruited." And I felt so bad for the poor radio guy because he was just like, yep, right away. Caleb says the same thing. He starts laughing, and it's this awkward laugh, like, I don't know what I should do.
I don't know where to go with this. I don't know where to go.
He's like, Coach, I'm trying to save you. And Chuck Martin, their head coach, just went all in on it. But because of that, since they lost their kicker, I don't think they can win the MAC.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go with them. I'll go with Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio, says Leroy. The Mountain West Conference. That at least, when you look at the Mountain West, it at least is Mountain West teams.
Other than Hawaii.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's mountains in Hawaii. There's mountains in Hawaii, aren't there?
Yes, there are.
Volcanoes. At least it's west, right? Who do you got? I got Boise State.
Yeah,
Boise State. The Smurf Turf will win this. And the last one, the Sun Belt Conference.
Oh, boy. Now you're all excited about watching Old Dominion kick some butt.
Look at you pulling out a Sun Belt team there. Now, was that a guess, or did you really know that Old Dominion was Sun Belt?
That was absolutely a guess. 100%.
Okay, I was going to say, because you know that Old Dominion used to be in Conference USA.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know if you, I was like, of all schools Old Dominion is the Sun Belt. So, Paul, Georgia Southern, I started on our college football game, I started a Road to Glory mode. And I just said, you know what? I want to be a quarterback. But Leroy, my quarterback is Bubba Davis. He's got a mullet and the biggest beard. And I've played on freshman mode. He's 7 feet tall, 360 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
So Georgia State, we're 10-0. We're rolling. Georgia Southern. We're 10-0. We're rolling.
Uh-huh.
We're projected to make the playoff. And in the game, they say, hey, now Bubba doesn't study, Leroy. Bubba doesn't need to study. Bubba's there to play football. He's majoring in football. He doesn't care about anything else. So when my classmate calls me up and says, hey, I have the answers on the test that is about to come up, Bubba says, heck yeah, I want the answers. So Bubba cheats on the exam. The issue is that Bubba gets caught.
Bubba got caught. Oh, my goodness.
Bubba got caught. So Bubba got suspended for a game. And by golly, the one game that we play, Georgia Southern loses. So we missed the playoff. Bubba wins the Heisman. But dang it, we didn't make the dang playoff. So you know what I did?
Never prosper, sir.
You know what I did? Is Bubba, first moment season's over. We said peace out. We hit the portal.
Transfer.
Gone. So sorry, Paul. Because the professor caught me cheating at Georgia Southern, or caught Bubba cheating. It wasn't me. It was Bubba. I can't pick Georgia Southern to win the Sun Belt. Can't do it. So instead, I'm going to go with Texas State.
I pulled all these teams up. Let's see. I'll go with Marshall.
Justin says Appalachian State. That's a really good pick as well.
Yeah,
you're going with Marshall.
I am the upset of the year.
Interesting. I hope not.
Me too.
I
hope not either.
I really don't want that. No love for Georgia Southern at plus 3,200. The Fighting Paul Reeveses.
Nope.
Sorry about that. The new playoff comes out this year.
Yes.
And with that, you got 4 teams that get a bye. And then you have the next round on campus, these games. 5 versus 12, 6 versus 11, 7 versus 10, 8 versus 9.
Right.
These are all on campus. I am super excited for this. I don't know about you.
I'm interested because I that number 13 team is going to lose their minds, and I'm here for it. Because let's face it, last year that number 13 team isn't even talked about. So I'm really intrigued to see the conversations that take place, especially when you have a conference like, let's say, the Big Ten or the SEC, where you have 3 or 4 teams that are sitting with 10, 11 wins at the end of the year. I'm really interested to see how this breaks down as far as, because I don't necessarily know, Sam, if it's the right move. Don't get it twisted. This is the right move for college football. But I don't know if the people that have decided all of this stuff have thought about, oh my gosh, what are we going to do when we do have 4 or 5 teams that are tied for first place or tied for second place? how are we going to figure this out as far as rankings go and things like that?
And Paul is right here. It's the same thing in the NCAA tournament. The 69th team is upset that they weren't the 68th team. But here it is. So the Athletic here, and this is the Athletics projections for Bulls. And you like this excites me. So for those on-campus playoff games, you have number 10 Tennessee at number 7 Texas. Now that's an SEC matchup, so it's not quite as exciting. But playoff Memphis at Notre Dame. That's cool. Ole Miss at Oregon. Like, that's awesome. But here's the one here. Can you imagine this? Number 11, Michigan at number 6, Alabama.
Oh, my goodness.
Would there be a tougher ticket in the history of Alabama football?
Where's the game? Where would the game be?
It would be at Alabama.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Or just flip those roles. Can you imagine Alabama at Michigan in the Big House?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, to me, I love that they're keeping those first round games on campus. Well, because you cannot tell me that that's not going to be outstanding.
Well, and the thing is, and I'm going to think greedy here for a second, but the schools got to love it. You think about how much revenue and how much, like, I mean, when we went to the Big House to go to a game, I mean, parking was $35 and like they parked on a golf course, and the golf course was packed. And I can't imagine how much money was rolling in simply from that much, from that situation right there. But this has got to be, these schools, especially these top schools, got to be licking their lips to have a big game at their school, to have a Notre Dame coming in, or to have a
Well, I mean, let's just, like Caleb says here, let's just talk what if. Let's just say what if here, and I'm not predicting this by any stretch. Spoiler alert for our picks later on. But Western this year, they have 2 Power 5 games on the road. They go to Alabama and they go to Boston College, and then they also host a pretty solid Toledo team.
Yep.
Let's say they win those. Let's say Western goes undefeated. They're 12-0, and they have a win at Alabama and at Boston College. Now, Boston College is not as good of a win, but if you have a win at Alabama, you're probably
raising some eyebrows.
Yeah, well, and you're probably in there. So let's just say Western. I think the mid-major is almost always going to be the 12. But let's just say they sneak into the 8. And let's just say that the 8 is Western on this, and it's Ole Miss at Western.
Oh, my goodness.
Or insert Ole Miss at Appalachian State. Or, something wild like that.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. I don't think the committee is going to allow for that to happen. I don't think they will. But if it would, I mean, like, can you imagine, like this 11 seed is Michigan. Michigan at Western. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It would be awesome. Awesome. And I hope that it comes in.
What would be the most bizarre college football matchup that you could imagine for like the top 25 or top 12? I mean,
Washington at Georgia Southern, like the Fighting Paul Reeves' take on Washington, or something wild like that. I'm just really excited for this, and I hope it should be great. But I hope it turns out as good as we think it is. Yeah, could you imagine if Western beat Michigan? Bowling Green would burn.
It
would burn.
There would be nothing left of that campus.
Hilligans would be wild that night.
Oh, my goodness.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And I'd be calling up my former K105 crew member to get me tickets to that game. Be like, okay, I've not asked you. You've given me tickets to a game last year, but I didn't necessarily ask for it. That I'd be, hook me up, brother. Yeah, I'm asking. Well, in fact, I'm not asking. I'm demanding. I'm demanding tickets to that game. But it should be exciting. I know the Athletic here, Leroy. I'll go through and see if I can find out what it says for Northwestern and if it has them making a bowl game. It does. The Pinstripe Bowl against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I'd like that. I'd like that game.
So that would be at Yankee Stadium, and it has Kentucky in the Vegas Bowl against Arizona.
Yeah.
Interesting. That one would not necessarily be one that I would be that thrilled about. But yes, exciting times for college football. Who wins the national championship, though, Leroy?
Georgia.
I agree. I think Georgia They didn't do it last year. They didn't make the playoff. I think they're going to be coming back with a vengeance. They got the best quarterback, and that's it. I don't know. I'm just fascinated with this playoff because, like, can you imagine if Western makes the Final Four or something? Like, that's going to be so awesome. Like, you get a Cinderella with it.
There's always that hope, especially for these teams that are from mid majors, that are from smaller conferences, that get that chance, that get that opportunity. Obviously, we've seen teams like Florida State where they get the opportunity, and goodness knows the Lord picks them up and throws them outside and beats them up. But every school will salivate at a chance like that. Of having that opportunity to be able to showcase their school, to be able to go on that national stage. Because let's face it, for some of these schools, that'll be the biggest moment that they get.
But now, Paul, as you say, Georgia plays in the toughest conference, and it takes a loss, and that sets them back or an injury. Now, the injury aspect is something with it, but a loss doesn't hurt you now, especially in a conference like the SEC. A 3-loss SEC team could make the playoff. Like, it would not shock me whatsoever.
Yeah, it's going to be very chaotic. I think it's going to be very chaotic, especially when you get down to the last 3-4 weeks of the season, where you start getting into some of those bigger conference games, and you start, running into that. I also am intrigued with if having all of these extra college football games means that players opt in. This is something that we've seen a problem with over the last couple of years, where players just say, you know what, it's not worth it to play in a bowl game. I'm got to get ready for the NFL.
If you have the chance to win a national championship, you're playing.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is you have 12 teams now that have that opportunity where you have an actual reason to be playing. And I'm interested to see how that changes the dynamic of how this moves forward, where players do have that opportunity where, the last 4 or 5 years, it's been, I'm not playing in that bowl game. Like, it's not worth it for me. I'm not doing it.
You know what else some people say? I'm not worth it, and you're not going to do it. You also say sometimes too, is this.
That's because
we're going to cue the music.
It's a stupid game, and I don't like it.
Music. Leroy's Logos, if you remember, back 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, or I don't even remember what it is. I guess it was 3 weeks ago. Leroy did the unthinkable. He got a 4 out of 4. Since that point, 0 for his last 8.
Oh, because Sam got butt hurt that I got all 4 of them right.
No. That is not the case at all. Would you like door number 1, 2, 3, or 4 for Leroy's Logos, where I've got throwback summer or just throwback comes? Paul even says he got them all 1 week. Okay. Would you like 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
3. Door number 3. Again, Leroy, it's a very simple game that we play here. He's just got to tell me what college it is.
What year?
I mean, 68. 1968. The comment section is coming and guessing. What's your gut telling you?
So my original thought was Northern Illinois, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's Nevada. I'm going to go with...
What is your guess? What are you thinking?
I'll go with Nevada. Regret it.
Nevada is final answer?
Yeah.
Leroy, what did we tell you?
What
did we tell you? Go with your guts. Go with your gut. And then, yeah, that's Paul's reaction. But does this make you feel better or worse about your answer?
Worse, way worse.
Well, guess what I give them? The correct answer is Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. 1, 2, or 4, Leroy?
1.
Number 1. Number one.
Buffalo looking like he's going to do a striptease.
So he's usually leaning on something.
He's all look at these sexy things right here.
Just be chilling. This is from the 80s, too, so this is not that old.
I'll go with Colorado.
Colorado is your guess. Final answer.
Sir.
Incorrect. The correct answer, let's go to the comments section over here and see if anybody has picked it out. John said Buffalo. Paul said North Dakota State. Caleb said North Dakota State. Paul also said Colorado. And to our comment section today, you all get, that is the turds of Marshall. The Thundering Herd of Marshall.
The Helen Keller School of the Blind.
Marshall is not that. Listen, the Marshall Thundering Herd. Justin, right at the end, did say Marshall as well. All right. 2 or 4?
2.
2. This one from 1965 to 1990. So the Buffalo is leaning.
Yeah, the Buffalo was leaning on the M of Marshall.
Correct. And if you realized on that picture, too, if you looked real close...
Yeah, you could see it.
There is just every bit of gleam.
I thought it was the top of the C. It was the top of the C for Colorado.
What are you thinking here?
I'll go with Louisville for this one.
Louisville. Final answer?
Yes, sir.
I had a feeling this was going to be the case for you. This one is Caleb Sweeney getting it. Ball State. The Ball State Cardinals. Leroy was in, or Paul, whatever your name is, was in agreement for you. And the last one for this week's Leroy's Logos.
Ah!
Was that a laugh as in, I've gotten it?
That was a laugh as in, if it's this team, I'll be shocked.
Okay, what are you thinking?
Well, Caleb's joining us tonight.
Okay.
Catamounts of Vermont.
Okay.
Cat.
Okay.
Trying to think of other green cat teams.
Uh-huh. Is Vermont green?
I believe so. He's probably yelling at me. He's probably yelling at me.
I'm just reading our comment section, right? You know what? Since I'm a nice guy, and you've missed 11 in a row, Caleb says, that ain't Chief. It's the Green Mountain State. Our comment section.
I'm about done with these throwback logos, Gormley.
I'm about to move on from them as well. But our comment section has gotten it.
Great.
Here you go. Here's Paul's guess. Okay, what do you got?
Nothing. Yeah, I don't even know.
That would be the Ohio Bobcats. Ohio. John said Ohio State. Not quite. The Ohio Bobcats. And you know a fun fact about Ohio? What do Ohio and WKU have in common? Other than them both having connections with the LaPose. If you know, you know.
Never won a national championship.
Well, technically, yes. Well, Western has won a football national championship in FCS. They both have People Can't Drive. That is also technically accurate. They both use the same fight song. They're both stand up and cheer. 50% greatest passing. Probably accurate as well. Party School's accurate as well, but no, they both have stand up and cheer as their theme song, school song, theme song.
Stand up and cheer for dear old Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but I could have just completely made that fact up. It wouldn't be the first time on this podcast, but now I'm curious. Stand up and cheer.
Stand up and cheer. Cheer up for dear
Yep,
Ohio.
it is. Stand up. Let's see if I can find it here for you. I assume it's for dear old Ohio. Stand up and cheer loud, cheer loud and long for old Ohio. For today we raise the green and white above the rest. Our team is fighting. We're bound to win the fray. We got the team. We got the steam. For this is old Ohio's day. So it's really similar.
Well, now I want WKU to play Ohio in some kind of football game.
Winner gets
rights to the fight song.
There is another school too that uses stand up and cheer. And I'll see if I can't find it as we're talking here, but it is time for, oh gosh, it's a lot. Montana State, Southeast Missouri State, University of North Dakota. So it's a pretty common one. Common one as well. And a lot of high schools in Kentucky and Ohio too, because they have to rip it off. It's time for play clock.
A lot of the high schools in Minnesota use Big Ten fight songs.
I mean, here Grayson County's fight song is the UK fight song, so it's not like it's. Would you like to ask or answer first here as we jump into our play clock segment?
I will ask first today, my friend.
Alrighty.
What is the best animated movie song?
Gosh, the best animated movie song, Circle of Life. Maybe from Lion King. I love the movie Cars. Life is a Highway, Rascal Flatts version, and I don't even like country music, but I love that movie and I watched it so much. But yeah, I'll go Circle of Life. That's the one that's coming. Yep. Caleb's wife Megan saying "You've Got a Friend in Me" from Toy Story. That's a really good answer. But I'm gonna still go with Circle of Life. Circle of Life. Do you have an answer to that?
I was going to say be prepared. I'm a big fan of the villain songs. So that's Scar, Lion King.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I'm a big fan of the villain. I'm a big fan of the villain songs.
Of course you are. A Whole New World, Justin. That's a good one too. You got to go Disney though. I feel like they're the best with it. Leroy, you win the lottery. You've won the lottery. What's the first thing you're buying?
You know what's hysterical about this? Christy and I literally just had a conversation about this the other day, and I told her the first thing I was buying was an IndyCar team. That's the first thing I told her I was buying. So somehow, some way, I'm weaseling my way into there. But no, I think the first thing that I'm probably going to buy is probably honestly probably like a really nice sports car. That's definitely what I'm doing. And LASIK.
Not what Leroy or what Caleb says here?
A new toupee? You know, I'm kind of digging this whole bald thing I got going on lately.
Would you get hair plugs?
I feel like if I won the lottery, I could get some hair plugs.
Yeah, no, I'm asking you legitimately. If you had, so Paul says he's buying him a diesel 3/4 ton truck and then a shop.
Yeah.
I mean, if you won the lottery, would you get hair plugs?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
What would your wife say?
I told you, LASIK. Mm-hmm. I've wanted better eyesight for so long, man.
Heel extensions?
You know what, Caleb? You've been kind of a dick today, man. Usually that role is reserved for Paul or John.
Or me, occasionally. I'm usually pretty nice, though. Okay, I'm ready to answer.
So Tom Brady is trying to become a new owner for the Raiders. That's the latest that's going on with that. However, he has been told in his role that with his role as a broadcaster that he will not be allowed at practices or any team meetings or anything like that because of his potential role as an owner. What is your thought on this, Sam? I was going to bring this up in my tidbits tonight, but what are your thoughts?
I forgot to bring that up. Yep, it was on the list. We can come back to it.
What are your thoughts on whether or not Tom Brady, if he's going to be an owner, whether or not he should be a broadcaster?
For one, you just made a dangerous statement because look at Paul's comment here on the screen.
I'm over it. I've washed my hands of the entire issue. I'll just privatize the comments and not have to look at them.
Well, I'll just put them up on the screen then to make sure you do see them. It's interesting. it's interesting because I think I saw somebody say, and it might even be the NFL that came out and said this, that he might have to choose whether you want to be an owner or a broadcaster, because it is in a way a conflict of interest. Because if you work for the Raiders, wouldn't you necessarily have motivation to give the Raiders information that you might learn at a practice or so on? Because these broadcasters, I mean, heck, I had a conversation today with a coach, and he said, during this, he said, this is all off the record too. And I said, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to keep this off the record. That is huge for this. And these coaches will not want to give Brady as much for that exact reason. And like John said, if he's an owner, he should be an owner. Too much bias. One of the other.
Also, I'm a big fan of Greg Olson, so I'm not too happy with Brady anyway. But that's a whole nother story for another podcast.
Okay, I am going to right now write down. Oh, my marker's not working. I have a prediction for what your answer is going to be to this question. I've just written it down, so I'm guessing. I'm going to see what this is. Justin says, "Vegan to lift, deflate a football." Paul says, "I'd want to be an owner, and I'd hire Leroy to keep the balls warm and to deflate them when needed."
This is stupid.
I have my answer written down, and I'm going to see if I'm right. Leroy, you get the opportunity to bring back one celebrity from the dead. Who is the one celebrity that you are bringing back?
One celebrity from the dead? Does he have to be an athlete?
Celebrity.
Robin Williams.
Oh, dang, I'm not right. Who do you think I wrote down?
I think you wrote down Kurt Cobain.
No.
Oh. Yeah. You know what? He did cross my mind for a moment. But yeah, Robin Williams, man. I feel like he had so much more that he could have given, especially for plus with the politics the way that they are right now. Robin Williams would have a field day, man. I tell you what, I would love to hear recent stand-up from him concerning everything that's going on over in Washington.
Yes, Lennon economy. Yes. I thought I was confident that it was going to be John. Now, would you go John Lennon over George Harrison?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now, are you? So we have somebody that listens to our morning show who I've gotten to know over the years that is anti-George Harrison.
Really? I know a lot of people who are anti-John Lennon.
Yes, he is like it's hilarious because like Here Comes the Sun he hates because that's a Harrison song, right?
Yeah, it's also the most streamed. It's also the most streamed
Yes.
Beatles song of all time.
It's a great song. It's a great song, but he hates it.
What is
because
his reasons for hating Harrison?
In fact, I need to, because I remember that we were mentioning it one day on the show, and he sent me his reasoning, and I'll try and find it here and see.
All right, while you're doing that, I'll give some
tidbits. Yeah, give us your tidbits while I find.
I don't have a whole lot of tidbits today because my computer is absolutely being stupid. But I thought it was very interesting. Obviously teams cut down to 53 players now, so all the cuts have been made. So those have been all taken care of, and it's been kind of interesting to see who's been cut. And it's interesting because as we get more technologically savvy, we're starting to see a whole more of this than what we would normally see. Cuts have been going on since the beginning of football, but a lot of those early cuts you'd never see because unless you were absolutely living in the city and following the team on a regular day-to-day basis, we just didn't have it. With social media being the way that it is, and you look at a show like Hard Knocks, you really start to get attached to some of these players, almost to the point where it's like, I can't believe they got cut. It's like, bro, it's like he barely was doing well against third-string players. Like, I don't know what you expected. But Austin Reed, practice squad for Chicago. One thing that I thought was really, really cool was Giants are unretiring Flaherty is number one for rookie for the neighbors for the Giants, which he asked for permission. They gave him permission, which is really, really cool. I thought it was really, really neat to see him actually asking for permission to have it to be able to use the number. There's still a lot of respect for that, and as far as those players are concerned, and where they're going. But I wanted to ask you, Sam, as far as the cuts for the Bengals go, I haven't had a chance to watch your podcast yet, but what? Yes,
Why the
I
hell
know.
not?
Shocking, because I was trying to fix a radio station, but that's beside the
You know what
point.
they say about excuses, right?
Anyway, so what did you
They're
think
like
of your...
they're like buttholes. We all have them, and most of them stink.
Yes. So what did you think of your cuts?
Not-
Was there any surprises to
Nope.
who got it and who didn't?
Nope. Not there really weren't any surprises at all for the Bengals. What's interesting is that they kept 5 tight ends, which is uncharacteristic, but that's because they have 5 decent tight ends and they didn't want to put one up into waivers. But yeah, so there were no surprises for the Bengals at all when it comes to that. I have his reasoning here.
Did your guy who cheated on the TikTok star, did he get cut?
No, nor would he. No, Cody Ford did not. I thought you were talking about Bubba Davis, and I was like, no, Bubba Davis isn't in the league yet. He transferred to UC. He's tearing it up, and listen, Bubba hadn't learned his lesson. He's still going to party hard and not study. So he says that the background on his hatred of George Harrison is since his death, he's being elevated in Beatle glory. He'll always be the number 3 talented Beatle.
Yeah, and what I'm irritated about that because he's going to call Ringo the 4th, and I think Ringo's severely underrated. But I find it interesting because a lot of the interviews with George Harrison, there's a lot of frustration over how Harrison acted about the Beatles after the Beatles ended. Like, he had a lot of animosity and a lot of anger and resentment towards the Beatles. And it's like, bro, that's like if you played for the Bengals for like 15 years and then got traded to like the Patriots, having resentment for all those years of like, you may hate them, but you wouldn't be anybody without them. So I don't
exactly.
Did
you finish your tidbits? Oh, hello, Christy. You had been in our comments section today.
No, I went to the store.
Excuses.
But yeah, that. We don't have a whole lot of tidbits tonight. It's been kind of, my computer's been, it's been weird. So nothing this week. We'll have a whole ton of them next week.
As we get ready to drivers, our NASCAR pick contest is about to wrap up too. We have a winner to unveil, but first, Leroy, you have our drivers for this week.
I do, and unlike Sam, I'm actually going to make things relatively easy today for you, sir.
Thought I was pretty straightforward. If you didn't even realize they were all at least one time in the MAC, there was a theme to today.
Well, there's a theme to today's drivers.
So this is where I have to tell Leroy whether this is an F1, an Indy, or a NASCAR driver. And this is my first one, and I need to make him bigger.
Hold on, I got you. Maybe.
Is that Jeff Burton?
It is not.
It is not Jeff Burton. I thought you were going to try and give me a Burton family since Harrison Burton won the race over the weekend, which I watched the end of.
You did. What'd you
I
think?
did, and we'll explain I'm going to say that's an F1 driver.
Final answer?
Yeah.
That is wrong. That's NASCAR driver Bobby Labonte.
Oh, it's Bobby Labonte. Interesting. Paul says 90s NASCAR. Oh, he's a NASCAR driver. Oh, what is his name? Oh, that is a NASCAR driver, though, is it not?
That is correct.
Oh, what is his name? Oh, what is his name? Is that Kenny Schrader?
That is. Good job.
Look at me go.
All right.
Ken Schrader. That guy before was Bobby Labonte. So,
yes.
He's got some nice teeth. Yeah, I'm gonna let our comment section catch up here for a second, Leroy, while this guy comes in. Okay, Paul got Ken Schrader as well on that. Oh, this guy looks familiar. Gosh. I'm gonna say F1. He's got too nice of teeth to be NASCAR.
Well, you are 1 for 3 today, Sam. That's kind of a little disappointing. He is NASCAR. It's Jeremy Mayfield.
Oh, that's your boy.
All right. So, in 1998, the Daytona 500, Dale Earnhardt finished first. Bobby finished second. Jeremy finished third. And Kenny finished fourth.
Interesting. Hey, I 1.5 almost for pulling out Kenny Schrader's name.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know,
That's fine. I'll give you that.
Not that we necessarily keep score on this, but what we do keep score on is the NASCAR pick contest. We started this all the way back, Leroy, at Las Vegas.
Correct.
And it's been a ride. For a large portion of the year, you were winning.
That's Terry, Caleb. Bobby Labonte drove the Interstate battery car.
The 18
number
car.
18.
Yes, and Kenny Schrader was the M&M's car for a while.
Yep. He also drove the Bud Light car for a little bit as well.
The NASCAR pick contest, though, has closed. Last week, they were at Daytona. Great race, at least great ending. Harrison Burton.
What did you think of the British/Australian broadcaster?
Yeah, he did good. I thought, and I saw the wreck. So what's funny is I was watching this, and I did not remember who I picked. And I thought I picked William. I thought I picked William Byron. And at the end of that race, he was in like 4th. And I remembered that Paul had picked Joey Logano. And Logano was towards the back. And I'm thinking, yes, the comeback is going to be complete. So I went and I looked. Nope. I picked Ryan Blaney.
That's right.
Ryan Blaney. The winner from last week was actually Chase for picking McLeod, which shows you at this.
What place did McLeod finish in?
I don't even remember off the top of my head. The final standings, though, in 4th place overall for the NASCAR pick contest was Chase with 597.
Okay.
In 3rd place with 652 was Leroy. In 2nd place with 731 points was myself. And your NASCAR pick contest champion with 757 points is Paul Reeves.
There's no way. That's so ridiculous.
Paul Reeves is the champion of the NASCAR pick contest for this year. Congrats to Paul. Good job. What do you win, Paul? The satisfaction of being the champion.
Boy,
the satisfaction,
Paul.
which
That's
is...
I know you went into that contest not expecting to win, but you did really, really good, bud.
The funniest part is that out of the top 4 finishers, the 2 that actually know racing finished 3rd and 4th.
That's good, yeah.
So it's just kind of funny that Paul and I know very, very little. John, you ended up finishing with 334 points, but you only did 1 race out of the last 10. But you didn't miss any the weeks prior to that. If you ain't first, you're last. You're right, Paul. So it's now time to jump into the NASCAR pick contest, or the regular pick contest for this week. Last week, again, both of us get one. As a reminder, we're opening it up to our new listeners in the comment section that we're having America's pick. So for all of these games, except for the high school games, which we're going to rotate, you all will get to vote. And whatever the majority of our comment section says is what that to be your pick. So we will start off. We'll start with you, Leroy, as far as Taylorville hosts Richland County. Am I correct in saying that?
Correct. Richland County.
Okay.
Yep.
Comment section, you all will pick this game as well. You all will not pick the Grayson County game this week. We are going to rotate every other week which high school game you pick.
Yep.
So I get 3 questions here to ask Leroy about the Taylorville-Richland County matchup. Again, these questions have to be basic yes, no, 1 word, maybe 2 word answers. It has to be very basic when it comes to this. Okay. Taylorville returns their starting quarterback, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do they return their leading rusher?
No.
Okay. Do they return their leading tackler?
Yes.
Okay. And both teams are 0-0, right?
Correct.
I'm going to pick Taylorville to win this week and open up 1-0. They're going to defend home field, taking on Richland County this week. It's senior night.
Yep. When you only have 4 home games, they get pretty
okay. John has a vote for Taylorville. John has a vote for Taylorville. Paul and Caleb, and I know Justin was in there, and anyone else that's watching, if you want to drop in a vote, you can vote against. You can go Richland County. Taylorville is Caleb's pick as well. So Paul and anyone else, if you want to go Richland County, and what we've said, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, our decision was that if there is a tie in our comment section, that we go to whoever the majority of us was, and if we tied as well, then it goes to a coin flip. That's what we said, right?
That's what we said.
So I guess since we only have really 3 people commenting right now, 2 have said Taylorville. Paul says he'll take Richland, but America is picking Taylorville, and I'm typing on the wrong computer for some reason. So he's going to take Richland just because.
Paul.
But America is picking Taylorville. Leroy, Grayson County, and again, America, you can pick this in the comments, but there are no points available for this. Grayson County travels to Marshall County. The Marshalls, Cougars 1-0, Marshalls 0-1. Leroy, you get 2 questions to ask me about this matchup.
Did you guys play last year?
Yes.
I asked that the wrong way. That's all right. That's all right. How many questions? I got 2.
Yes, you get 1 more.
One more.
I'll be nice. 26-20 Marshall County last year.
Okay. How many touchdowns did your quarterback throw last week?
2.
Okay.
Do I be nice and give Paul his? Even though Paul, he doesn't get a vote in this. I see. It's 26-20 last year. Okay, I'll let you make your pick, and then I'll answer Paul's question.
Can I ask if the game was home? Is this home or away?
It's at Marshall County.
Okay.
It's a 2-hour drive.
Oh, 2 hours. I'll go with Marshall.
Caleb's taking Marshall. Leroy's taking Marshall. Again, this is just for fun here. John takes the Cougs. Paul takes the Cougs. To answer your question,
split 2.
Marshall County last year won 3 games. Only 2 were actually on the field. They had 1 win via a forfeit.
Oh.
You remember though, Cougs went 9-1 in the regular season last year.
That's right.
Lone loss. Marshall County. Revenge.
So they're looking for revenge.
They are. They are looking for revenge this week. All righty. We jump into here. As a reminder, every single week we will pick the Kentucky, Northwestern, and WKU games. And then Leroy and I will both pick 2 college games as well. I'm sorry we're boring you, Leroy. Kentucky hosts.
Man, I swear.
Kentucky hosts Southern Mississippi on Saturday night. I will be in attendance. So because of that, I'll start it off and pick the Cats.
Yeah, Kentucky's my pick.
All righty, comment section, whatever the majority has for you all for Kentucky hosting Southern Mississippi. That will be what we go with. Caleb is picking Kentucky. Paul and John, if you have votes as well, we will jump that into there. Northwestern hosts Miami, Ohio, correct?
Yep.
Okay, Justin says UK. Northwestern hosts Miami, Ohio. Leroy, who you got? Okay.
I'll take Northwestern in that one.
3 have picked Kentucky. 1 has picked Southern Miss. So America is picking Kentucky. You are taking Northwestern, you said.
Correct.
I'm tempted. Caleb's picking Miami.
That's fine.
I'm going to take
You're
Northwestern.
not going to hurt my feelings by it.
I'm going to take Northwestern just because Miami, they don't have their kicker. And it's
The
on the
kicker
lake.
was stolen.
Yep. On the lake. Probably some weird wind. So because of that, so we got 2 votes for Miami, Ohio. Paul's taking Miami, Ohio. So it is Miami, Ohio for America. Wow. Going against Leroy already.
I'm going to be insufferable if Northwestern wins that game next. I'm just telling you. I'm going to be insufferable.
You don't have any reason to be insufferable towards me. I'm picking Northwestern.
Not you.
WKU, Leroy, travels to Alabama. I picked this one first, and I don't know that it really matters. Alabama wins.
I think they'll make a valiant effort in the first quarter, but it's gonna be Alabama all day.
Justin is picking Northwestern, if that makes you feel better, but sadly he has been auto-voted. Justin's picking the tops. He's picking them for the upset. I love it. You're picking Alabama, though?
Yep.
Okay, I am as well. America, drop in your pick. And while we do that, we will have to jump in here. John is going with Alabama. And I'll get us ready here for our first. We got another Bama pick here. So Paul has gone with Alabama, so Alabama is America's pick as well. Our first selection of the week, since I'm the champion from last year, I'll pick this one first. Clemson travels to Georgia. Technically, it's in Atlanta, though.
Clemson's number 14, Georgia's number 1.
Correct. Leroy, who you got? Clemson at Georgia.
Georgia.
Georgia, and I agree. I'm also going to pick Georgia in this game as they take on Clemson. America, drop in your pick for Clemson at Georgia. And Leroy, while they do that, what is your first game of the week?
First game of the week, EIU, Eastern Illinois University, takes on Illinois.
Eastern Illinois at Illinois. That's like tomorrow night, isn't it?
It is. It is. And actually, I said that. I think the game is at Eastern. Hold on.
No. It is in Champaign.
Champaign.
It is in Champaign.
Yeah. So, yeah.
John says Georgia. Caleb says Georgia. Paul says Georgia. Justin says Georgia. So America is unanimous in picking the dogs. I'm going to take the Fighting Illini in that game, too. What is your pick, Leroy?
Yeah, Illinois.
Are you allowed to pick Illinois?
I only in rare occasions.
Illinois is their pick there. Paul says Illinois has got to be a better team, right? East side, B side. Okay, John's picking Eastern Illinois. So it looks like we have 2 votes for Illinois, 1 vote for Eastern Illinois. And Justin, you can tie it, and it would make it Illinois. So it's Illinois, because that would go to us, and we are in agreement there. Okay, my second pick. Leroy, I was not very good at this in picking, so I'm just going to go random. I'm literally just going to scroll. In fact, here, we're going to do this. Okay,
tell me and press the button.
Okay, tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, I can't. It was Western at Alabama. Okay, let's do this again.
Stop.
Okay, this actually is a good game.
Oh, no.
Miami, Florida.
What did we do?
Miami, Florida travels to Florida.
Oh.
So it's the Florida Bowl, Miami at Florida. And honestly, this is one that I probably would have picked anyways. Miami at Florida. Leroy, who you got?
I'll take Miami.
Oh, you've made your wife upset.
Because she's sitting 2 inches from me staring at me while I'm trying to do this podcast.
Well, does she have any picks here? Caleb's picking.
Leroy, she said
I
WKU earlier, so I kind of just ignored her.
Leroy, I told you. The Canes are back. They're back.
Yeah? Are they really?
Miami. So they're going to win. Caleb has a pick for Florida. Christy, if you have a pick in this game, too, you're part of America. You can go there. Okay, we got 2 votes, Florida. Does she have a pick, Leroy?
Yes, this is college. The Florida Gators
are hosting Miami, Florida.
University of Miami, Florida. Tim Tebow's school. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't have a pick.
Just kidding. It's not Tim Tebow.
Okay.
It's not for that one.
Florida is where Tim Tebow went.
I know.
Okay. Oh, we're tied. So we got 2 votes, Gators. Okay, Christy needs to break the tie.
You got to vote to give the deciding factor on this.
Miami or
Florida?
Florida.
Christy says Florida.
Christy says Florida.
You're the deciding vote on that.
She is the deciding vote.
Because they both tied 2 apiece.
Oh.
So Paul and Justin will be mad at you, Christy, if it is, in fact, Miami, because that's who they wanted. Okay, Leroy, your final pick here in game 2.
Oh shoot.
Fly.
Let's do that random one again.
Am I doing it?
Yeah, go ahead and do it. I'll tell you when to
Okay.
stop.
Okay.
And stop.
Clemson at Georgia.
Okay. Stop.
Southern Illinois travels to BYU.
Ew. That's so gross.
Southern Illinois travels to BYU. Is Leroy's second pick here.
Oh no.
Southern Illinois, the Salukis at the Cougs of BYU. I can't pick against the Cougs, Leroy.
Yeah, BYU.
BYU is the pick there. What an awful game. My goodness. Caleb says good night.
Good night, Caleb.
Pick.
Love you, bud.
Good night. Good to see you as always. Mormons get it done, says Justin. Christy, do you have a pick for Southern Illinois at BYU?
BYU.
BYU, so that will do it. Paul says BYU is decent. So America has gone with BYU. So that means that for the most part, America has gone different than us, Leroy.
I see that.
So they have differed on picking Miami, Ohio against Northwestern, and they have differed on picking Florida against Miami. Other than that, we're all the same. Leroy picked Marshall County. I picked Taylorville. In your game, Leroy, did I make the right pick?
Yes. Yep.
Who should win is Grayson County.
What are you making?
Who will win, though, last year proved that you can never really tell.
Yep. I don't like that 2-hour drive, man. Teams that go on 2-hour.
You're telling me.
It's crazy because when I look at job applications, and this is how I know I'm a broadcaster. One of the first things I do when I look to see if a city's hiring or something is I go to Max Preps and I see how their teams did last year, and then I go to their away games and I see how far they travel on an average. And maybe that makes me weird, but like I don't enjoy driving 3 hours to go watch my team lose 49-0. Which one of the schools I checked, one of the radio stations I checked out today, their school did travel 3 hours to lose 49-0. And I'm sorry, but that's just not enjoyable for me.
See, luckily this game, if Grayson County does lose, it should at least be a good game. It should at least be a good game. I mean, last year was 26-20.
Yeah.
It was a weird game. We had a lightning delay in the middle of it.
We're expecting some severe weather on Friday.
There's some rain in the forecast for us as well. Hopefully it's not severe though.
Hysterical because our people that make all the remotes and all the plans have absolutely jam-packed the schedule for Saturday. But if the football game is delayed on Friday night, that moves to noon on Saturday. And the radio station might implode.
Well, see, it's funny is last year there was talk about halfway through the game last year when they played Marshall County. That they said, what happens if, are we just going to have to stay here all night if this thing keeps coming through? Because we're thinking, they're 2 hours away.
Yeah.
You're
not going to drive all the way back.
Yeah. What are we going to do? Are we going to call it a no contest? And I'm even just thinking, I was like, if I was Marshall County's radio, how mad would you be?
Pretty mad, yeah.
To have to drive 2 hours to only, because you'd almost have to come back.
Yes.
And that's where I'd hope that I had a relationship with the other radio guy. Be like, brother, you got a couch, or something that I can crash on for the night.
I tell you what, when I hit that deer in the car, they streamed the video, the audio from the other broadcasters. And it's funny because the other broadcasters were like, I was listening on the radio on my way back. And the broadcasters were like, well, we hear Leroy hit a deer tonight. So we are actually carrying the feed for Taylorville. So, Leroy, we hope you feel better. And we'll try not to be as biased during our broadcast tonight, which I thought was absolutely hysterical.
So that happened one time for us is they asked us to do it. And because Grayson County was playing a team that was really, really good in football.
Yeah.
And long story short, their radio guy was like, he had something else that he had to do. And he's like, could we use your stream? I'm like, I guess. I was like, that for one, that's not my decision. But I'm like, do your fans really want to listen to me be depressed in the second half because it's 56-0 and I'm just counting down the minutes until I can go home? And they're like, well, I'm like, well, whatever interests
Did you end up doing it?
I think they ended up sending somebody else.
Okay.
But I don't think it was because of my reaction. I think it was more of just they had somebody that they had to call, and that person ended up saying yes. And it was a quick game anyways. Next week, NFL preview show.
Yes. We're so excited. The NFL preview show is next week. We're going to talk about who's going to win the division, who's going to make the playoffs, and maybe we'll talk about Rookie of the Year, other things like that, and who we see as the surprises of.
Do we need to talk about the Rookie of the Year since we already know that Paul's vote is going to Caleb Williams?
That is true. Paul's favorite quarterback of all time made the 53-man. I know he was worried. About whether Caleb Williams was going to make the 53-man roster. He did. I know Paul was very worried about that, but don't worry. He'll be there and ready to beat some Tennessee butt in just a couple weeks.
11 days from the start. 8 technically, because that's when Chiefs-Ravens happens. John says Jaden Daniels, my hot take offensive rookie of the year. I don't think that's very hot. I don't think that's very hot at all. I think Jaden Daniels very well could be a offensive rookie of the year.
Less pressure and gets himself into a very good situation where he's at.
I gave a hot take on Jungle Juice, and I'll save it for next week on this show as well. It's about my prime regression candidate for a team.
Oh.
So there you go. If you don't,
Jordan
you can go listen team.
Oh.
You can give Jungle Juice a listen if you want to hear that, or you can wait until next week. You know what we call that in the radio industry, Leroy?
A teaser?
We call that a tease. It is the tease. Luckily you're at home on Friday.
We are.
I'm jealous.
Oh, don't worry. I have more away games than home games this year. So
we're 5-5. So luckily we're doing it, but we're beginning a 3-game road trip right now.
I do like whenever we have a home game, we always try to pack as much stuff into it as we can because we only have 4 home games. So like, it's like, oh, well, this game we're going to do this, and this, and this game we're going to.
Leroy, I don't know why our comment section is just calling me out like this because that's my exact regression candidate. It's the Houston Texans.
Wow. See, Paul must have listened to your podcast.
Maybe you did, Paul, and we appreciate it. You can give us our ad revenue now because we're officially a member of the Fan-Sided Podcast Network.
Oh.
And we've made our 50 cents, maybe. Probably not, but. All righty. We'll see you back next week for another edition of the show. And Leroy, you know what we got to do on the way out, right?
We got to hit the music.
We got to play it one more time. You'll have to find out next week who I have picking the division. John?
I'm so excited for the Colts this year. See, this should play during the hot dog eating contest.
Just on repeat.
Just on repeat over and over again for 10 minutes straight. See,
it's like the perfect way for us to wrap up, too, because, it's cheery, it's happy. We're doing the gallon lemonade contest next year. God. Leroy, have a great week. Good luck in your call, and we'll see you next week.